All right, welcome into One of One Sports. March Madness is here. The bracket is revealed. It's time to make my official bracket. Version 1.0. We'll have two versions. We'll have the initial one, day of the release. Then I'm going to do more research and we'll release a second bracket later in the week before the games start. Let's get straight into it right away. No way I'm going 16 over 1 to upset Auburn. That'd be a crazy first pick. That's an easy pick. Now, always hard, the 8-9 game. If we give it a look at the preview, we do have an early spread favoring Louisville. Open at 2.5. It's come down. 9 seed, 8 seed, typically a coin toss type game. I like the size on the inside for Kalkbrenner, but Chucky Hepburn, Terrence Edwards probably has the better backcourt. It's a tough pick. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays here. I think they typically perform decent in March Madness. This is Louisville's first time in a while. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. Then Michigan UCSD. This is one I am quite nervous about. Really small spread here for the Wolverines. UCSD is just a really good team. They lead the countries in turnover margin, and Michigan can have a tendency to turn the ball over a lot. But I do believe that having those two bigs, like that's something UCSD is not going to have seen. That Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden, they're not going to have seen anything like that. I think that's enough for the Big Ten champions in Michigan to get around one win. They seem to be peaking at the right time. And then Yale last year pulled the upset on an SEC school in Auburn. Early big spread for A&M. I'm going to say Yale does it again, actually, and sets up a rematch between, Yale and Danny Wolf. That's Danny Wolf's old school, so that would be a fun second round game. Then I think North Carolina would win this first round game, and I'm actually going to go North Carolina to win against Ole Miss. They're playing better at the end of the year. I don't think Ole Miss is a lot better than UNC. I think some of these SEC schools are just inflated because the way the metrics work, all the schools are going to keep boosting themselves up, 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 up. And I think UNC can pull off a win, especially given the fact no one thinks they should even be in the tournament. Of course, that team, ends up winning a game or two. And then Iowa State, this is actually Keyshawn Gilbert out for the tournament, I just learned. So that actually concerns me because I was going to have Iowa State making a very deep run. I think I'm still going to have them beating Lipscomb for the time being, but I am nervous about that. And then New Mexico, I pick New Mexico every year and they always let me down. I got to just go with Marquette this time. Fun matchup between Cam Jones and Donovan Dent, though. And then I'm going Michigan State to beat Bryant. We'll finish this off. Gonna go Auburn again here. I just don't think like what St. John's did to Creighton. I think Creighton's clearly a class below these A-level teams. Go Auburn. And then would be really fun. If you guys haven't watched Danny Wolf at all, he was at Yale last year, transferred into Michigan. Probably the most unique player in the country, in my opinion. He's a 6'11", maybe 7-footer who really plays like a guard. Like he'll bring the ball up, he'll set the offense, he'll do crossovers and drive, he'll pass it. It's really fun. And I do think Michigan could win this game. And then an injured Iowa State, not as deep. I'm gonna go UNC to win another game. I'm gonna go UNC to win another game, and then I'll have Izzo getting another win, Mr. March. And then I think Michigan would lose to Auburn. Auburn has the size to guard both Broom and Wolf, and Michigan. Michigan basically, if it's a close game, Michigan tends to win those games, but they can also be blown out, and that's most of their losses. I think Auburn has the capability to blow them out. I'll go Michigan State, and then we get a chalky 1-2 Elite Eight, where I do think Auburn's the better team. I don't love this. When I make my official, I may have something else because I'm not loving Michigan State to the Elite Eight right now. Coming across to Duke, easy pick there. I don't need to explain that. And then Baylor, Mississippi State would be fun. I don't think Mississippi State's like a particularly big team, which I think are the kind of teams that would give Baylor problems due to a lack of size and then a lack of depth at important positions like center. And let's see what this says. The rebounding is important. Yeah, but I don't think Mississippi State's a great rebounding team unless I'm mistaken. I'm going to go Baylor here. And then I didn't pick a 5-12. Do I want to pick the Oregon Liberty? Dana Altman teams just tend to be so good in March that I can't do it right now. I'm going to go Oregon. And then I'm rooting for Arizona, so I'm not going to pick the upset. A little bit biased there. And then this region, this is really fun because when you look at BYU, Wisconsin, Alabama, all really high-flying teams. St. Mary's and VCU, like the polar opposite. And it's going to be a fun contrast of styles. I think VCU style wins out. I think they can limit BYU to not score like 70 plus, or maybe at least not 80 plus, and VCU controls the tempo, able to get the win. Montana, I don't know a lot about. Wisconsin is huge favorites though. Let's see, did Montana play anyone? Oregon crushed them. Tennessee crushed them. They hung with Utah State. I kind of want to. I'm tempted to pull like a crazy upset, but I'm not going to do it there. I'll go Wisconsin. And then St. Mary's Vanderbilt. I am rooting for Vanderbilt here. I'm really hoping they get a first tournament win they've had in a long while. I don't love the matchup for them, but I'm rooting for them. I got to go with it. And then Alabama, I do think is good enough to beat Robert Morris. Back up top, Baylor has clearly shown all year when they play the top teams in the Big 12, they are not a top tier team. Low ceiling team, in my opinion. Like, there's no way they beat Duke. I hope that better not come back to bite me. Oregon, Arizona. This would be an old Pac 12 matchup. That'd be really fun. Arizona looked good in the Big 12 tournament. I'm going to go with them to advance to rematch Duke, unless something pops up. Nate Biddle, Jaden Bradley, seeing all that. Yeah, I'm rooting for Arizona here, and I think they can advance to the Sweet 16 under Tommy Lloyd. Like I said, this is a similar thing. I like VCU's style against these high-scoring teams. I think they pick off Wisconsin as well. And as much as I'd like to pick Vanderbilt, I do think Alabama would beat this Vanderbilt team who at times lacks depth, can get into foul trouble with their bigs, and I don't think has the requisite defense to defeat Bama. Back up top, as much as I like Arizona, no way they beat Duke. Duke beat them early in this year. Sure, Arizona's gotten better, but Duke's gotten even more better. They're a great team. They're beating Arizona. And like I said, I think VCU just continues to pick off these like shooting threes, high-powered offenses, want to play fast. I think VCU's tempo wins out and gets them to the Elite Eight. Don't see them beating Duke though, especially with a healthy Cooper Flag. Just too talented there, but a great like an Elite Eight for VCU would be awesome. Then we gotta go Florida. Again, I'm not picking the 16 seeds. Oklahoma will have beating UConn. I haven't been impressed with UConn at all. I think the three-peat chances end early. Then Colorado State, that's going to be my first 5-12 upset. Memphis, Tyrese Hunter, probably not 100%. And Colorado State's just been on a roll. I called like weeks ago they were going to steal or they were going to get a bid by winning their conference tournament. I've been on it for a couple weeks now. They did it. I'm rolling with them. And then my Grand Canyon Antelopes going up against Maryland, who I do think is the best 4 seed. But we have the requisite size to deal with Maryland. We have the athletes to challenge them, and we're really good at drawing fouls. We're going to get that starting 5, which is a top 5 starting 5 in this tournament. We're going to get them into foul trouble. Their depth's going to struggle, and Grand Canyon's going to advance. It's 2 years in a row winning a game in the NCAA tournament. You can book it right now. Drake, Missouri. I've had too many 11 seeds winning, so I'm going to go back to the 6 seed. Although Drake, they have that, or kind of that VCU, Houston, St. Mary style, slow it down, but they are basically a D2 team. I think Missouri's athletes are, based from what I've seen, which is a limited amount of Drake, I think Missouri's they just out athlete them here. Get the win. Another game I'm tempted to call the big upset if Texas Tech's not healthy, so I will be staying tuned into like what the health update is. But right now I'm assuming they'll be fairly healthy, and I will go Tech, but that's what I'm watching. Then probably the best coaching matchup of this whole tournament, Kansas versus Arkansas, Bill Self Calipari, and Arkansas getting Boogie Flan back. I think that's a bit of a boost. Outside of that, I think they're pretty evenly matched teams. DeJuan Harris, a veteran, Hunter Dickinson, but this Kansas team's been so disappointing. I'm going Arkansas here. I think the Boogie Flan thing, I don't know how much he helps in game 1, but Arkansas has been playing pretty well. Kansas, I don't know. It's just like there's something off about that team. St. John's, I think the best 2 seed will beat Arkansas. Florida, clearly better. Oklahoma, we saw them playing league. Florida's way better. My Lopes taking down Colorado State. First Sweet 16 in school history. We're going to do it. I believe in them. Then Tech, Tech at this point, if they're here, that means they're healthy. I think they beat Missouri. St. John's, I said they're the best 2 seed. I think they beat Arkansas. My Lopes, the run comes to an end. Florida advances. And then I will have This is fun. I don't think Texas Tech good offense, not a good enough defense. St. John's is probably the best defense in the country. I think that wins out. They versus Florida, but I am a Florida too much size for St. John's, too well rounded. St. John's doesn't have enough offense. Then I'm gonna have Houston here, and I think Gonzaga is better than Georgia. All the like predictive numbers really like Gonzaga, so I think they'll get at least one first round win. Clemson, do we want two 5v12s or one? If we're looking at this, I think there's a risk that Clemson's overrated just playing a weaker schedule in the ACC. Did McNeese? I haven't seen any of McNeese. They hung in with Alabama. They hung in with Mississippi State. I'm going to go two 5-12s right now. I'm going to go McNeese because, okay, I really want to pick this High Point upset just because I think Purdue is one of the most overrated, like overseeded teams. But High Point, this is going to be our first time playing anyone, and Purdue has a history of losing these kind of games, which makes it feel like it's almost too obvious. So I will go with Purdue, although I might change that. I might flip it like Clemson. I might flip it like that. I'm gonna flip it like that actually, and just go with the one, which means we're picking. Did we pick? No, we're not picking three 13s to upset. So we're switching this back. Purdue, and we'll still go with Clemson. Yeah, we'll go with the 4v5. Because do I have any 4v5s? Yeah, I have one. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Moving on here, I would pick Texas to win this, and Illinois is just so up and down. You get crushed by Duke, you get annihilated by Maryland, but then you can rout Michigan. I don't know what to make of them. I'm just gonna say it's a good Illinois game here, and they can beat Texas, but that's tough. I don't think Kentucky loses the first round again to a 14 seed. I'll go Kentucky. Utah State, UCLA. This should be fun. UCLA is pretty good defense. Utah State, I haven't watched a ton of, but they were disappointing to me in the Mountain West tournament. And these Mountain West teams I always pick them and they always let me down. I'm going UCLA here. I like the Bruins, although they weren't impressive in the Big Ten tournament. I will go with them. And then Tennessee, I think, beats Watford, which means I have no top three seeds getting upset. I probably will end up picking one in my official, but for now, nothing jumping out at me. Wrong matchup. Back up here, Gonzaga, they could cause some problems for Houston with just how good that offense. This one of the best offenses of the country versus one of the best defenses of the country. This would be a lot of fun. But the guard play of Houston right now is playing too well, in my opinion, to lose to this Zags team with what Cryer's doing, what Uzan's doing, and with Sharp coming back now. And this team just won the Big 12 without Jawan Roberts. I think they're at least getting Sweet 16. I think Clemson can beat Purdue. This is a fun matchup between Braden Smith and Chase Hunter. But like I said, I do think Purdue is overseeded here. And then Kentucky, Illinois. I think Kentucky is a pretty safe. Like I don't think they have a high ceiling right now because of some of the injuries. But if assuming Lamont Butler is healthy, I think they get to the Sweet 16. And Tennessee, this is a good Tennessee team, and they've been growing on me a little bit, but they score around the same amount of points. They're both really good defenses. They're both decent against the top 25. And if we look at notable games, so UCLA beat you. This is a pretty good UCLA team. UCLA, I'm going with UCLA to pull this upset, advance to the Sweet 16. I'm going Houston over Clemson. I do think Clemson, there's no, like, I don't love any team in this region right here, and I wouldn't be surprised if a crazy team advanced to play Houston. And then this would be fun as well. Two blue bloods of the sport going at it. And I'm going with this Cinderella UCLA story. And again, like I think their style, the defense, playing their defensive style matches up well where it's going to be a game in the balance against Tennessee. It could go either way. And then I think they can slow down Kentucky enough. And then that same style against Houston, this gutted out, it's going to be tight, it's going to be defensive. I think they can pull off like this crazy run to the Final Four because look, I have 3-1 seeds right now. And when you look at like the history of the Final Fours, like over the last 10 years, almost every year, 7 seed or lower makes Final Four. So I want to get one in there. It's going to be UCLA, but I don't want 3-1 seeds. I don't. So, you know what? I'm going to say even with the Keyshawn Gilbert injury, Iowa State steps up and makes it to the Final Four. because I'm going to say UNC just not good enough. And then against Michigan State, like Momcilovic could step up or Curtis Jones step up. And again, they can't have Lipsey and Gilbert out. Lipsey's got to be healthy. I do think there's still enough firepower that maybe they can get to the Final Four. I feel like I'm just trying to talk myself out of Auburn, though. So we're switching it back. I'm sorry. I don't like 3-1 seeds. We'll probably find a way to change that. I think Florida is clearly better than Auburn. Maybe that's a hot take, but watching the SEC, watching Florida play Auburn, I think Florida is clearly the better team. UCLA story ends. Duke is too good on both sides of the ball to lose to them. And we get what, in my opinion, are the two best teams in the country all year long. And as long as Cooper Flag's healthy, I think Duke has enough defense and size to match up with Florida. They're so well rounded. They're the best team of the country. The Duke Blue Devils will be your national champions. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Make sure to leave in the comments down below who are you picking to win your bracket. And if you enjoyed this video, stay tuned. There's going to be a ton of March Madness content on the channel, as well as a 2.0 version where I've done more research and fine-tuned my bracket. Thank you all for watching.